Okay, Slack. Time to play Batman.
Batman is borked.
Batman is borked?
Yeah, Batman is borked. The PC port of Batman Arkham Knight is so bad that it was pulled from Steam until it gets fixed. I read a comment recently posted by, yeah, it was recalled. How about that? A video game was actually recalled. I read a comment recently posted by Mr. Santa, thank you Mr. Santa, that said that the fix patch is due out in mid-August. Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to read up much about this except a couple of brief articles describing how, the PC port of Batman was pulled from Steam. But yeah, looks like we aren't going to see a fix for that till sometime next month. Maybe. That's all I know.
Oh. So what are you going to play instead?
I'm going to play Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity? Don't you need like a PhD in rocket science to play that game?
Pretty much, yeah.
And you're going to do it blind? This should be good.
Shut up, Pee-wee. Yeah, Pillars of Eternity. This is a classic RPG, which I've heard compared to Baldur's Gate. I've never played Baldur's Gate, but I played a ton of Diablo, both 1 and 2. Yeah, I played Diablo 1 when it first came out way back in 1996 for the PlayStation 1. Played a crap ton of it. Played through it several times. I also played through Diablo 2 several times, so I'm very familiar with this kind of top-down isometric view RPG style of gaming, this classic kind of RPG style of gaming. So I find Pillars of Eternity very similar to Diablo in my experience. And then, of course, there's a lot of point-and-click gameplay. It's very easy to play. One major difference between Pillars and Diablo is Pillars has you controlling a party of characters instead of just one. So it's like you take a team of custom-made RPG-style characters into combat. And your party can consist of all different kinds of custom-made characters, like characters you build yourself, like mages, barbarians, archers, the standard role-playing game fare. Right? Pillars also features pausable combat. I'll show you a little bit about that later. You can pause the game in the middle of combat and issue orders to your characters to carry out once you unpause the game. It's really cool. Really cool gameplay. Very strategic. Very, very strategic. Like totally right up my alley. I also have a lot of experience with real-time strategy games, so like Command and Conquer. So commanding multiple units in a video game is not new to me at all. I'm very, very at home and comfortable with that. Yeah, Pillars of Eternity released March 26th of this year. It's just a little over 4 months ago. Brand new game. Unfortunately, there's no console version yet. I'm not even sure if there's any planned. So it's PC version only, but there are Mac and Linux versions available. So it's not just PC. It's basically it's a computer game, all right? Very low system requirements. I can play this on a gaming computer I bought 8 years ago, okay? This gaming computer I think it's been replaced 3 or 4 times now, because gaming has advanced so much since then. But I can play Pillars of Eternity on that computer. This is a computer that my wife now uses for her email. That's how old it is. Yeah, so it's not like you require a mega monster rig to run this baby, all right? And like I said, the controls are dead easy. It's mostly point and click with a mouse. So if any of you console diehards are thinking of converting to or trying some PC gaming, this is a good place to start. It's a great place to start. I've had my eye on this game for quite a while. It's getting very high marks on Metacritic from both critics and users. So I believe it's the second top rated PC game for 2015, just under Grand Theft Auto 5. But don't let that deter you. No, I really love this game. It's a fantastic game. I think it's a great buy. I highly, highly recommend it. This game immensely impressed me the minute I booted it up for a number of reasons. Number one, it's DRM free. No Steam, no Uplay, no Origin, no online game server that you have to hardwire your game to. You don't have to be online to play this game. By the way, buy it from GOG.com. You get the real, DRM free version of the game. Okay, buy it from goodoldgames.com, GOG.com, and you get the DRM free version of the game. Download it, install it, click on the Pillars of Eternity.exe game file, and boot up the game, just like the old times, just like the good old days when you bought a game, installed it, and just played it without all this DRM online Steam, Uplay Origin game server crap. None of that. Number two, it's got a fantastic save system. Save the game anywhere you like. It's also got a quick save feature. You can actually name your saves. When is the last time you see a video game that allowed you to do that? Last one I remember was the original Command and Conquer, the way back when. Just you can actually name your saves. It's awesome. And none of this, you can't save the game now because you're in the middle of the mission. None of that. Save the game as often as you like, anywhere you like. I love it. Comes complete with a pretty good game manual. It gives you the basics, pretty concise, and it also comes with a built-in game cyclopedia right in the game. So anything you're wondering about the terminology in the game, or what this means or what that means, just look it up in the cyclopedia right in the game. Last time I saw something this extensive, geez, I'd have to go right back to the original XCOM that came out in 1994. This kind of extensive game cyclopedia. You know what else? You could actually take... I've never seen this before, ever. I've been gaming for 40 years. I've never seen a game where they allow you to take notes and save the notes right in the game. You ever seen that? I've never seen that before. That's freaking awesome. I can't believe it. It's like every game should allow you to do that. It's absolutely amazing. All right. Now, I know some of you who know about Pillars of Eternity are probably thinking, Slack, this game has got 6 metric tons of dialogue and backstory. You don't like dialogue and backstory. It's true. Let me clarify. It's not that I don't like dialogue and backstory. I just don't like dialogue and backstory when it gets in the way of my gameplay. If you got like a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 where it's just this constant blathering dialogue while you're trying to drive, while you're trying to actually play the game, that's when dialogue and backstory bothers me. But if the dialogue and backstory is clearly separated from the gameplay, like it is in this game, then I don't mind. And they give you control over the dialogue and backstory so that you can fast track it if you like, then I don't mind. Throw all the dialogue and backstory at me, no problem. I can just fast track through it and get back to the game. I'm just fine with that, all right? So yeah, I have no problems with that. Now, as far as doing this walkthrough blind, it's possible, but it'd be stupid. There are limits to the PewDiePie channel slogan, we don't make it pretty, we make it pretty stupid. I don't want it that stupid, okay? Let's say I'll be doing this walkthrough semi-blind, okay? And what I mean by that is I've taken the trouble to put myself through an intensive 3-day Pillars of Eternity boot camp, all right? I've done a ton of reading, and I've replayed the first several missions, first several quests, that's what they're called, about a dozen times, easily, experimenting with all different kinds of character builds, and studying the gameplay and getting myself very familiar with exactly how to play the game, all right? And I've studied the game manual, I've taken a ton of notes, I even purchased the official Prima Pillars of Eternity game guide. By the way, I don't recommend buying that. I don't usually run down other people's products in my videos, but this was really bad. The Prima Pillars of Eternity game guide, it is really poorly written. It's got a lot of good information in it, but it's just chock full of grammatical errors. It's like they didn't proofread it at all. It's really astonishing. Anyways, I digress. All that to say that I am ready, Freddy. Okay, there's no way I could do this completely blind. It would be ridiculously tedious watching me learn, how to play this game on the fly. So I won't subject you to that. Okay, so don't worry. So when you see the next video where I jump right into the game, I'm going to know what I'm doing, all right? So I pretty much got the basics down. In this intro video, I'll quickly go over the character creation screen and some of the game menus, and to do a quick overview of the gameplay mechanics. And like I said, in the next video, which is already live, so if you want to skip this intro, just jump ahead to episode 1. This is episode 0, all right? Just jump right ahead to episode 1 right now if you want to skip this intro. Like I said, in the next episode, I'm just going to jump right in the game and start playing. And like I said, I know what I'm doing, and it's going to be a pretty fast-paced walkthrough. All right. Now, let's skip ahead to the character selection screen, or rather the character creation screen. All right. All right, here's your character creation screen. This is the screen you're confronted with after the opening intro and cutscene and whatnot. And this is the same screen that you'll be using to create other custom characters as you progress through the game. All right, you get 6 members in your party, and some of them are pre-made. You can encounter them in the game. Others you can custom build, and this is the same screen you use to custom build all your characters. So when you first start out with the game, you get to build yourself your main character. All right. So there's a lot of choices here. I'm not even going to pretend to be able to rattle off the top of my head what all the choices mean. A lot of it you can just read about it. Male and female is entirely cosmetic. That's what we start out with. Let's just go with male. I'm just going to go with the character that I'm going to build when I start playing the game, and can explain my choices here and now, so that in the next video I'm just going to fire through the character creation screen and not stop and explain why and wherefore and whatnot. Alright, so I'm going with male. Here's your race. Your race gives you various bonuses to certain attributes. You can see those bonuses listed here. Right, you got human, Amawa, dwarf, elf, Orlin, and godlike. So according to whatever attributes you want bonuses in, choose that race. I'm going to go with Amawa, all right, because it has a bonus in might, and more might means more damage. All right, let's go to the next screen. They have 2 sub-races choices in here, coastal Amawa or island Amawa. Once again, the bonuses that are listed are always at the bottom of this little blurb here. Pardon me. Island Amawa is an extra weapon set, which I didn't really think would be that important. So I'm going with coastal Amawa, right, which has bonuses to defend against prone and stun effects. All right, next, class. This is the most important choice you make. There's 11 different classes. Each class kind of represents a different style of play. Some of them are self-explanatory, like barbarian. You know, if you want a real hardcore, tough, close combat character, you know, go with a barbarian or a fighter. If you want like somebody who sits in the rear with the gear and shoots spells, go with a cipher, a druid, or a prehistoric chanter. I haven't had a chance to experiment with all these guys, but I've read a lot about them, all the choices. Okay, the original choice I thought would be really great was the ranger. You know, this guy has an animal companion, and you get to choose what kind of animal companion he has, such as a wolf, a bear, you know, and whatnot. Pardon me. But after reading online about, you know, good character builds, everyone and their monkey's uncle was saying the ranger was the worst one to choose. So now I'm like kind of like teased off about that. So I'm not going to go with ranger. And after doing a lot of reading, I see that the classes that appeal to me the most are either the rogue or the cipher. If I was going to play alone and not do a video walkthrough, I would go with the rogue. But since I want this to be as visually spectacular as possible, like I want a lot of visual eye candy, okay? Want a lot of good eye candy in this walkthrough, I'm going to go with the cipher, okay? And a lot of people are raving about the cipher and how powerful he is, so that's what I'm going to go with, all right? That's my choices there. Here you get to choose the Ciphers Powers. You get to choose 2 in the beginning. I'm going to go with Mind Wave and Soul Shock. After much experimentation with all these, Anapathetic field, it's a little tricky to work with. It kind of sets up this beam that you hook up to one enemy, and then everybody that gets caught in the beam takes damage. But every time I tried using it early in the game, I ended up zapping my own guys. So that's kind of tricky to use. I think it's probably a lot better later on in the game. So I'm going to go with Mind Wave and Soul Shock. Okay, you can read these screens here. There's Soul Shock. You can pause the video and read that. And there's Mind Wave. Okay, and I'll just scroll down and you can read that. Okay, and I'll show you those in effect later on. Soul Shock is a really cool one. This is where you actually apply it to an ally, one of your guys. Okay, and it creates this shock field around them and zaps the bad guys. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's the one I'm going to go with. Here's another very important screen, your attribute screen. You start out with 15 points and you get to bump up or dump points in all these different attributes. Once again, I'm not going to like pretend to be able to rattle off the top of my head what all these attributes mean. Generally, might is damage, constitution is health, and the other ones you can just read. Okay. Note that, let's say, for example, you choose resolve. Okay, so we got it on resolve. If you ever want to know what something means, okay, so what the heck does will mean, or what does a deflection mean? Just hover over anything, any text in red. You can hover over it and get, like, a complete description of what it means. Okay, this game is very, very complete in explaining how it works. All right, concentration, that's what it means. Deflection, that's what it means. All right, and between that and the game manual and the complete cyclopedia, in-game built encyclopedia, you'll have no problems figuring anything out, right? So, since my guy is a glass cannon, I won't need health. So I'm going to dump off all the points from health, okay? You can, like, drop points in any one of these attributes to give you more starting points, okay? And I'm going to drop off points in resolve. And I'm going to max out might, give me lots of damage, max out dexterity, and max out perception. Dexterity is all about action speed, like how fast you can use your attacks. All right, so I want lots of points in that. Okay, so that's that. Oh yeah, I want to put five points in intellect, and there we go. All right, next, culture. This is another thing that gives you bonuses to various attributes. Each culture gives it various bonuses. You can see the bonuses listed there. The only one that has a bonus that I want is living lands. Okay, gives more might, lots of damage. Want lots and lots of damage for my artillery. All right, in the rear with the gear. Next, background, same thing. This gives you bonuses to skills. There's 5 different skills that you get to develop. By the way, the attributes, that's it. Once you select this, that's it for the rest of the game. You may be able to bump up some of them with some equipment, but it's not like these develop as you level up. That's it. So this is like your starting character build. Alright? The things that develop are your skills as you progress through the game. The things like, let me just look at my notes here. 5 different skills: stealth, athletics, lore, mechanics, and survival. And I'll get into a little bit more about that later on as I progress through the game. So I'm going to go with living lands, gives another bonus to might. So my might is 21. You see these all listed up here. Might, constitution, dexterity, perception, intellect, and resolve. It's all listed there for your convenience. Next screen, background, same thing, gives you bonuses to skills. I'm going to go with hunter, because it gives a bonus to stealth, because I want to be real stealthy at times, and survival. Okay, 1 to health and 1 to survival. Each one gives you various bonuses, all right? I wouldn't worry too much about mechanics. Mechanics is the one that allows you to disable traps, because, well, I'll explain that later. I don't want to do any spoilers there. Alright, so I'm going to go with that. Living lands, hunter. Next, this is purely cosmetic. Get to choose your colors. I usually like to go with red so I can see my guy, my main guy, easily in combat. And let's give him a nice greenish hue skin and some nice golden hair. And how about head number 14? Purely cosmetic. Give him a nice emo look. And here's the, like, your character portrait. This is what appears next to your character. It identifies your character and all the different in-game screens, like, the inventory screen, the character screen. Even in the game itself, you have little portraits of all your party members in the bottom left corner here. So you get to choose what that portrait is. And you can also download custom portraits. All right, so I've got some custom portraits downloaded. So you may see some ones that you never seen before, like these, for example. Some of these I'm not sure if they're male or female. They're all kind of jumbled up. It's all in one big batch here. Let's go with this guy. It's really hard to find one of these portraits among the default, and even amongst custom portraits that match your character. So let's just go with this one. because he looks pretty badass. All right, there we go. Next. This is all about the voice, purely cosmetic. I usually like the stoic one. You can click on each one to see how they sound. Repeatedly click on it.
My eyes are peeled. I've got this.
The one I've tried them all, and the one I like the most is stoic.
Follow me.
Okay, there we go. Next, enter your name. Get to name your character. I'm going to call it Major Slack for now, but I have another character name worked out for the walkthrough. And let me just put the muffler on the on my computer. I'm using my other headset because the new headset, it completely encompasses my ears. It's one of those wrap-around headsets that wraps around the ears, and it's really hot to use in the summertime. It just makes my head sweat. So I'm using my old headset, which picks up more of my you know, the GPU fans on my rig. All right, so Major Slack, accept, and we're done. Handling dialogue in the game. I bet you a lot of you are wondering how am I going to do this. Yeah, I've watched a lot of Pillars of Eternity walkthrough videos, and I see a lot of guys reading out all the dialogue. Okay, there's two kinds of dialogue. There's dialogue that's displayed just as text, and then there's dialogue that one of the characters or NPCs in the game will actually voice. All right, for example, this.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you are planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
All right, so any dialogue that is highlighted, usually an NPC will actually voice it, okay? If it's not highlighted, you just read it. And I see a lot of Pillars of Eternity walkthroughs reading out all the dialogue that is not voiced by an NPC in the game. I'm not going to do that. All the power to you if you do that. I'm not knocking it, but I just don't enjoy backstory enough to do that. And besides, like I said, I want this to be a real fast-paced walkthrough, so I'm just going to jam through all the dialogue. There's basically two kinds of dialogue. Dialogue that tells a story, which I'll hereby refer to as fluff, and multiple choice dialogue options that may, operative word, may contribute to character development and or finding an alternate path to progress through the game. All right, so in the first situation where it's just fluff, like I said, I'm just going to leave it on screen long enough so that you can have a window of opportunity to pause the video and read it. I'm not going to read it all out. Okay, it's just going to slow down the walkthrough. In the second situation, I'm going to be looking for a rapid conclusion. Okay, if there's dialogue options, like let's just skip ahead and we'll see, I'll show you what I mean by that.
Whole area's tonight, every touch of the room. There's a berry. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker. But see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
Okay, now you heard the guy reading out all the dialogue there, and I was skipping through it. Any dialogue where the NPC actually voices it, I will let play. I won't skip that, okay? If it's dialogue where the NPC doesn't voice and you're required to read it, simply read it, that, like I said, I'm just going to show on the screen long enough so that you can pause the video and read it yourself. But I won't be reading it out myself, okay? Here's an example of dialogue choices very similar to Skyrim. These dialogue choices may or may not lead to something that helps develop your character and or gives you an alternate way to progress through the game. So in this situation, I'll be looking for ways to reach a rapid conclusion to the dialogue, okay, without, you know, harming my character too much or without making too wrong of a choice. Obviously, I won't be making the best choices all the time. It'll just take too long and slow down the walkthrough too much if I study all the dialogue choices and try to make the best choice. I don't really care that much either. I just want to survive. That's always my agenda in these blind playthroughs. I just want to survive, all right? So here it's pretty obvious how to get to a rapid conclusion. It actually says leave, so you click on that one and you conclude. Okay? Here we are. We're actually in the game now, okay? You can see our two characters, two party members, Kalisha and Major Slack. All right? Let's take a look at the character stat screen. All right, there's Major Slack. Here's all your stats. If you ever wonder what anything means, hover over it. Okay, you want to know what might is all about? There you go. Hover over that. Game gives you a description. Constitution. Game gives you a description, etc., etc., etc. I see it's all there. All right. That's the stats that I selected, and you can just scroll down and see how it affects other things. There's your skills. I started out with 2 in stealth because I got a bonus. I think I got a 1 stealth bonus from choosing a Mawa, and I got another one for choosing that certain culture or whatnot. Anyways, that's where all that is listed. And once again, you can hover over all these and get a description of exactly what those skills mean and how they impact the gameplay. All right, there's my my spells. Soul Whip, I'll get into that a little bit later. And whatnot. And here's Kalisha, your first party member, okay? Extra party member. Same thing here. Alright? Here's the cyclopedia. Everything you want to know. Wondering what something means? Look it up in the cyclopedia. There's all the character statistics all listed out. Same thing. If you don't want to do it in, like, you know, the other way where I showed you, you can do it like this. Combat mechanics. Everything is all described. It's a lot of reading, but, you know, you do it at your leisure right in the game. Alright? Want to know something about the game? It's all there. Inventory screen, stuff. Here's your party members all listed here. Here's each one's inventory. There's Major Slack's inventory. There's Kalisha inventory. You know, you could put stuff in there. That's her starting weapons. So let's say you pick up stuff as you're going through the game, exploring, combating, looting. You can store stuff in there, or you can store stuff in your big stash. That's like a big communal knapsack. All right, put stuff in there in the stash. Or you can just hold down shift, click on that, and put it automatically in the stash. Alright? Here's your gold or your currency. Camping supplies. I'll explain about that later. Moving your characters. Let's see. I'm just going to list here. Inventory screen, we cover that. Character stats screen, we cover that. Map. Here's the map. Same deal as with all video games. Everywhere you have not explored is covered in the fog of war. Here's the area that we have explored, the initial campsite. Those are our 2 guys, okay? You can move the map, like you can like highlight another part of the map and just go back into the game and move your guys there. Alright? And they'll automatically move there.
I've got sundries for sale.
Alright? Okay. There. Move them. And you can actually watch them move in the map if you want. Alright? That's moving. Point and click. You can move them as a team. You can like draw a box around them, move them as a team, or you can select them individually, move them individually. Alright? No problem. So that's map and movement. Combat. Oh yeah, interacting with stuff. Most people can be interacted with and spoken with. Let's speak with Hyodan, the first merchant you encounter in the game. So you just hold your cursor over like at his feet and you'll see his circle and you see this little dialogue icon, meaning you can speak with that guy. So you go speak with him and have a dialogue with him.
Wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road. Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
So let's see what you've got. Is always the options to see what he's got, and then you can like do business with him, buy stuff and sell stuff. All right, so that's what that's all about. Other guys, you know, could just like be more fluff. Go talk with that guy. Sometimes they don't even say anything. All right. Interacting with things to loot stuff. You can highlight everything to make sure that you see what can be or cannot be looted. So you can turn this on and off, see? And you're gonna highlight to see like who can be interacted with and whatnot. So we can see there's 2 boxes to loot here. Go check that out. There's the stuff in the box. Grab it, and Bob's your uncle. This one's, we have to use the lockpick to open. I'll get into that later. Turn this off. And that's that. So that's interacting with the game. Fast and slow mode. You can go like really fast. Or, for combat, really slow. It's really great. Stop saying really, Slack. Yeah, you know, like you want, when you go into combat, you want things to slow down so you can watch your characters carefully, make sure they don't get whacked too much. Go in slow motion. If you're exploring, you want them to really book, put it in fast motion. All right. The game screen, by the way, the map is not zoomable, but the game screen is zoomable. Okay, you can zoom in and out. Okay, you want a closer look at what's going on? Zoom in, zoom out. All right. Combat. Let's go cover combat, and that'll be it. That'll be it for this introductory video, and then next video we'll jump right into the game. Let's send Kalisha, our cannon fodder, in first. There's a wolf up here. Okay. That's another thing I should cover too. Auto pause. In the settings, by the way, I'm going to be playing on normal, of course. You know, I'm not a masochist. I'm going to be playing on normal. Here's all your settings. These are all the default settings for stuff you can turn on and off, like all the helper stuff you can turn on and off. You can go over that at your leisure when you actually start playing the game. I'm just going with the default options. Auto pause. You can have the game automatically pause when certain events happen. I've got them all turned off except when combat begins, because you can just pause the game at will anytime you like. Game pause, game unpause. It's like not like a normal pause, all right? It's not like a normal game pause where you can't do anything during the pause. You can actually command your characters to do something during the pause. Okay, so I just commanded him to go there, and when I unpause the game, he'll go there. You see? It's really cool. So that is immensely useful in combat and allows you to set up all different kinds of, you know, really cool strategies. It's just great. I just love it. All right. So here's a wolf in here. Here's something else I should go over. Health and endurance. This may throw you off a little bit. Endurance is not what you think. It's not like stamina. It's like your immediate health bar, if you will. That's the best way I can describe it. Your immediate health bar. There's two health bars. There's the endurance which you use when you go into combat. Okay, when you go into combat, this is the health bar that takes the hit, and once each fight is finished, the endurance will fill right back up, and you can see your endurance in your character portrait. Okay, that's Kalisha's character portrait. That's Major Slack's character portrait. Let's send these guys into battle with no weapons so that the wolf really gives them some damage. Okay, off you go. Off goes your armor. Send Kalisha in. Let's take off her armor. There we go. And you take away her weapons and send these guys into battle against the wolves so that they will definitely take damage. Okay, let's send Kalisha in first.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
Yeah, go punch out that wolf. First, demonstrate to everybody how the game automatically pauses as soon as we go into combat. Boom. See, we are now officially in combat. We spotted the wolf. The wolf has spotted us. You know, we exchanged, you know, trash talk pleasantries, and we're now about to wail on each other. Okay, combat has started. Let's put it in slow-mo. Tell Kalisha to go attack the wolf and watch what happens to her character portrait when she takes damage. Bam. See that? Bam. Okay, you see her character portrait is starting to empty out. That's your endurance. All right, the other green line, the long green line running along here, is your health. That's kind of like a long-term thing. Okay, endurance can be filled up using potions, and like I said, it will automatically fill up at the end of every battle. The health bar, which is a much bigger pool, okay, this also takes damage, but not at the same rate as endurance, but it cannot be refilled by anything except resting. So basically your health bar determines how many fights you can get into before you actually have to rest somewhere. You rest by either setting up camp or going to an inn. Okay, and when either of those bottom out, your character will either die or flop over mains according to what difficulty settings you have. Alright, so that's the way that works. Now, I'm in combat, so I can't switch weapons or armor. So let's just see how these guys fare. I'll show you a little bit how strategy plays out. So we'll have this guy come in and attack the wolf along with Kalisha. All right.
Yeah.
You could also hover over the enemy and see what kind of condition he's in. So now they're both wailing away on the wolf. You can zoom in. And he's near death, and my guys managed to punch out the wolf. Way to go, guys. But that's not what you want to do. You want to go at enemies with weapons, alright? And of course, like any other game, dead enemies are lootable, so loot the enemy, take all, and that's it. That's pretty much the basics. There's a whole lot of other stuff to get into, but I'll get into that gradually as I play through the game. So that's it. That's it for my Pillars of Eternity intro video. Coming up next, I'm going to actually start playing the game, and like I said, I'm just going to blast through the game. I'm not going to stop too much to explain anything, and just gonna play the game. So if that's what you're looking for, episode 1, next video, is your ticket to entertainment and whatnot. Alright, so that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next video. Hey you, we got an offer you cannot refuse.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Subscribe!
Okay, now technically speaking, that's not an offer, that's an order.
Pee-wee,
Yeah?
comment je veux dire, shut the fuck up.
Okay.